Good morning, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about the manga life cycle. Here's a brief overview. Manga usually starts out in a weekly or monthly, sometimes bi-monthly manga magazine. It's filled with multiple series for the same age group and gender usually. The younger ones might be for both boys and girls. There are ones with like Pokemon, Hello Kitty, and things like that. Then for specific author series, the different chapters get collected into kind of like a graphic novel. It's called tankobon in Japanese, and it's slightly better quality paper than the magazines, which have newspaper print. And in more recent years, the tankobon have special editions, usually the first press, where it comes with a mini art book in this case. Or a deck of cards, and it can be practically anything. Then for the particular series I'm focusing on, which is Kamikaze Kaitou Jeanne, it got turned into an anime really quickly, so here's a kind of like character design book to represent the anime. And with the anime, there will be a ton of toys. So because Kaito Jeanne is a magical girl, there are lots and lots of toys made of her for usually very young girls. And when a series starts becoming popular, various indie artists or aspiring manga artists will create their own fan manga for it. These are called doujinshi, and unfortunately most doujinshi have adult content. I guess that's how they make money. But for more Shojo series, there are doujinshi like these, which are just normal, no adult content, probably rated G or PG, at most PG-13. Then once a manga artist or a series becomes super popular, the artist would release an art book, a collection of the color drawings that she made, often for some of the monthly chapters covers. The popular series will get color covers quite often, whereas the less popular series in the magazine would have just black and white covers. Then once years have gone by and the original print of the tankobon goes out of print, perfect editions are sometimes made. They're pretty much reprints, but a lot nicer quality. And the original series of Kaito Jeanne was published from 1998, I believe, through 2000. So this perfect edition, it was made in 2007, and I believe there's a reprint in between the perfect edition and the original tankobon. It was printed kind of like on newspaper print that's very similar to the original magazine. I'm not sure why, but it was super cheap. Then if an author is popular enough, she might just randomly publish her own manga. Like this manga is pretty much about the author, and she would have some comics about her life, her work, and some other drawings of various stories and characters she created. if a series is super popular, then another reprint would be made. And this one's made in 2013, so about 5-6 years after the previous perfect edition. And what's interesting is every time it gets reprinted, there's new cover art and sometimes new color art inside that didn't exist when the manga was originally published. And finally, the top row are translations. So unfortunately, I don't have the Japanese or Chinese tankobon of Kaito Jeanne with me. I think they're in the basement. So I'm using another series, Kero Kero Chime, to sit in for the tankobons. So here is a Chinese translation. It looks very similar to the original Japanese tankobon, and it's for stories in Reborn magazine. It usually gets published by Angel Comics, and in this case, Angel Comics is a Taiwanese company. I believe there's also a Shanghai company that translates manga into Chinese for the China audience. And there's also another company in Hong Kong, so I might have two different versions of the Chinese tankobons for Kaito Jeanne. And finally, there's the English translations. So originally, this now dead manga publishing company called CMX picked up Kaito Jeanne. CMX has always been one of the smaller ones, and they kind of eventually just failed. And it took them a while. Let's see when this was published. It was published in 2005, which is quite a while, like 7 years after the original series. And years later, Viz Media translated the perfect edition. So, although the cover is a little different from the Japanese perfect edition. Oh, no, it's more like this. Okay. And this was quite recent, I believe. Let's see. It was first published in the US March 2014. Very recent. And I guess what worked out for Viz is because they translated a kind of perfect edition. It has less volumes than the original. The original tankobons were 7 volumes, and then this perfect edition has 6 volumes, and I believe these have 5 volumes total. So Viz only had to translate 5 volumes, but they do tend to be a bit thicker than your typical US manga volume. So I'll talk a little bit more about the magazines that the series originate from. They usually come with a lot of goodies called furoku. And on the cover, it says exactly what these furoku are. So here there are 10 big ones. And you can see the authors' names, the series, and the items. Then there are also raffles. So these are raffles. 2,000 people will win. And once every other month or so, there will be this Zenin service. Zenin means everyone included, everyone in. And you get to pick one of these items, so either a clock or a watch. You send in for it, and you pay for them using postal stamps. So everyone who mails in for them and pays up will get the item of their choice, if there are enough to go around of that series. And there are other things you can win. This might be part of the same raffle, 2,000 winners. You can even win a mini TV, and there's the anime version of Kaito Jeanne. Then there's always a preview of the furoku for the next month. So here are some like stationery, a separate manga volume, and some little paper crafts you can do, and school supplies, or just like a lot of paper craft containers. Like I mentioned before, the popular authors will get color covers for their monthly chapters. So here's Penguin Brothers. It's a cute story. And here, Super Gals. And let's see if we can find Kaito Jeanne in here. Ah, here, Kaito Jeanne. So Ribbon actually, Ribbon magazine, most of the series have color copies. I guess every month there are just maybe 2 or 3 series that are less popular, which don't get color covers. And yeah, that's the Manga Lifecycle.